Hi, I'm Craig Butler, professional football manager and father to top international players. Football coach to Jamaica's youngest and most talented players. Jamaica, why haven't we started the Premier League when the rest of the world has started already? You want people starved to death? Consistency is key to development. Anyone who says otherwise is utter madness. These are mad people. We have a Football Unfiltered exclusive with Leon Bailey, Raheem Sterling, and Jade and Sancho simultaneously. You heard it here first, folks. We dissect and present football in a way that you've never seen before. Trust me on that. Craig Butler's Football Unfiltered. Don't miss it.
All right. Welcome, everybody, to the next episode of Craig Butler's Football Unfiltered. We're going to, of course, have a great show lined up. And, of course, as always, we have Mr. Craig Butler. Craig, are you there?
I'm hearing Alvin and the Chipmunks.
Oh, you are? We're not hearing? You don't hear too well? Is it still the same thing?
You sound like Alvin and the Chipmunks. You sound like you can't hear.
Okay, let me try to reset my mic.
Something is wrong with the show. I don't know.
How's this? Is this any better? Okay, so I think we're just running into a quick thing. I'm just going to double check just to make sure we are okay. See how it sounds. Okay, I'm going to add Craig back in. Or Craig is not here yet. Sorry, guys, we're getting some technical difficulties, but I think we're okay. I think Craig just has to re-enter, and he'll be right back in. And here he is.
Okay, I'm here.
Craig, is it better?
Yeah, better. I was hearing Alvin and the Chipmunks.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I checked the stream. The stream seems okay, so maybe it was something you had to reset. But that's great. All right, well, we're off and running now. I know we're a few days late. Partially was that because Amia wasn't available on the Saturday, and then we had some special guests lined up for today. But Craig, how was your weekend and your week? And then let us know who we have planned on today. I know it's going to be a packed show.
Yeah, the week was good. Good training, good preparation, and also we sent Whipser off to Europe. So he's now in England, joining Jade and Puddy and Buster. So we're pretty happy. Dante and Xander are doing well. They're playing and training at Bonner. Xander scored a few goals. Club. And so Dante had picked up a small hamstring injury, but he's okay now. The young players that are here, they're all doing well. Leon is almost 100%, so he'll be ready for the Arsenal game. And Kemar Reed, unfortunately, Kemar lost his mom. Very important part of his life. And just want to wish him, strength and love, and just understand that she lives on in him. Yeah, we're doing well. We've made some new inroads into opportunities, and we're going to be discussing a couple of those things with Jordie Isen. So, yeah. That's
great. So we have, like you mentioned, Jordie Isen going to be joining us today. And do we also have Mr. Sancho joining as well?
Sancho will also be joining us, so we're looking forward to that. Sean is a mystic, so he may be on, but he may not come on. We don't know, so we'll see. Okay,
great. And so I want to give also a shout out to him. I am going to have him on the show. Probably next show is Nicholas Hamilton. I met him here in former Cavalier player. I watched him here, or I wanted to watch him here in Canada play, but he was injured. But we're going to hopefully get him on the show later this week or next week to tell a bit of his experience playing in Canada. Okay, so Craig, who would you like to have on first of the players? I know Jordie's also here as well. Should we have the players come in first, say a few words?
Yeah, let's just see how the players are doing, and then we
Okay, great. So we're going to bring on Thierry, and of course Thierry Mills, and of course Dujon Richards. To check to give and of course Jade Clark to give us a bit of an update. Jordy, I do see you there, so give us a minute. We're going to check on the players and get right to you. So here we are. Hey guys, can you hear us?
Yeah, we're in fine.
Yeah.
Great. So we'll start with you, Whisper. I mean, you just landed into England last week. How are you feeling? How are things? How are things going?
Well, it's a great feeling so far with the boys. But one thing I want to say, I miss like Phoenix training so
Yeah.
bad.
What do you miss? What do you miss about it?
Like the whole training, the set pieces, the everything, like and the feeling on the training.
Yeah. So Craig, how was he when you sent him off last week?
It was fine. He's ready. The reality, Whisper, is that that training and that mentality and all of that, it's now in you. You have to carry it with you wherever you go. Where you may not necessarily have the same method of training or even the same level of coaching. We don't know. But what we do know is that you are a product of the Phoenix and you are a Phoenix. And the Phoenix can.
Never die, never
Never
die.
die.
Never.
There we go. I was wondering what's going on.
Don't want any further damage or something.
Exactly.
So just go out there, continue to do your best, continue to do well. I'm here advocating for you guys, as you know, making sure that you get treated properly, that you get the right opportunities, and that, you know, when you perform on the pitch, I am performing in the boardroom and the negotiations. So don't worry. How about you, Puddy? How was things?
Well, it's been a great experience so far. The first week, um, it was like because it was a long time, like going to like face to face school. When like I had to wake up, I was kind of tired because of like the time difference. So like when it was like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning in Jamaica, it's like 6 a.m. in England. So I have to wake up and I'm really tired. But I had to get used to it, and I just moved along and worked with it for the 1 week, and now like I've adapted to the time and all that.
Good, good.
Wow.
How
And Putty, how long? He's been there a few weeks now, right? Since I think we had our show a few weeks back. How are you getting used to the environment, or what have you been? Is it what have you been doing to try to get yourself more accustomed to life in England?
Well, when we first came to the house, it was a really warm environment. There are some Nigerians here. They're really friendly, so they made us like acquainted. They showed us around, made us feel comfortable and all that, and we are friends with the Nigerians. So what we didn't know, they told us and all of that, and the training, it's okay, but you know not every training is gonna be like one where you're gonna say, oh, this is one to remember, but you just have to work hard and
Mm-hmm.
get used to it.
Mm. So, Coach, what are you seeing out of Putty the past couple weeks?
yeah, he's performing? Well, the great thing about it is he's adapting well. Um, he scored off the bench one game, man, Puddy,
Yes, coach.
and did well, and I've been doing all right. How about you, Jade? How's your performances been?
I mean, it's a great experience. It's a really great feeling to be here. When you first arrive, um, to get more to like to we communicate a lot with with the guys who were here from before to feel more comfortable. I know we're not home, but that's what we have to do to feel comfortable. So if you're not comfortable, you can't perform and do anything good. So that's what we did. To get more comfortable. Training is okay. as Puddy say, it won't be like training at home, you know. I mean, nowhere is better than home, and no training is better than training at home. So we just have to keep going, keep working hard. I mean, we played 2 games so far. We won both of them. I scored 3 in the first game, 2 in the second game. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the next game. We should have a game tomorrow, but I think it's cancelled, so I'm not sure. Probably have a practice game, or I'm not sure. But life is good. We're eating healthy. We've been in the gym, training on our own when we don't have training. You know, just working hard on and off the pitch, doing our schoolwork, and trying to improve in every area.
That's good, boys. Well, good. I know it's late now, so I want you to get your rest, but just want you to know we're 100% behind you and we're thinking about you all the time. I'm not 100% myself, but I'm here and I'm fighting for you. Dad loves you, Whisper. Miss you. Come to every training, focusing, supporting me, doing what we need to do to make sure everything is going fine. Lloyd supports us as well. And, you know, we know your mom is always there. So we're going to be there for you guys. Just go and get the job done and keep humble, keep safe, keep focused, and make us proud. All right. So
It's good.
Yeah.
I want you to sit backstage and watch this communications that we're going to be having, because it may be of influence to you later on. So just sit tight.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, it's good.
All right. Thanks, guys. So that was Whisper, Jade, and Puddy or Thierry. So it's great to get a check-in from them. And I'm sure we're gonna get more check-ins as weeks go by, which is a great way we can use this show. So that's really exciting. So the first, I guess, panel guest, his name is Jordie Isen. I hope I pronounced that correctly. He is a retired doctor who's been an agent for 15 years. That's correct? Correct. And he has established a network in North America from his playing days, and also as he left healthcare, moved back into football. He's met a lot of superstar agents, or he met with superstar agents. Steve Kuttner, who was the agent of people like Frank Lampard, Paul Ince, and Claudio Ranieri. And they have been working together ever since. So I hope I got that right. And Jordy, I'm going to add you on now, and please add on or correct anything I may have missed. So can you hear us?
I can hear you fine. Thank you. Nice to meet you.
That's great. Pleasure to meet you too. So yeah, that's quite a background. Can you tell some of the our fans watching and people who may not know who you are a bit of backstory about you?
You pretty much got it spot on. I mean, my passion for football has always been there. I played at a young age, playing, I guess, football in Canada, and trying to proceed. This would have been probably 35, 40 years ago. Would be, what wasn't the sport to be doing that here. So, now it's much different days, and it's wonderful to see, and it's nice to be on this end of it at this point in my life, and just working my tail off for my clients.
Yeah, it's great. That's great to hear. So you were a player in Canada. What any specific teams that you would have played for?
It was semi-professional. When I was growing up, there was not the same. There was the Toronto Blizzard, but that was mainly, exclusively imported players, and I was still even younger than that crop of players. So, are you based in Canada, Brendan?
Yep. From Canada. I'm usually in Jamaica 9-10 months out of the year. I'm here only for about a month or so. But yeah, originally from Canada. But no, that's great. So I know the the discussion today, and I know we also hope to get Sean Sancho on today, is about more opportunities for young players. So, Craig, did you want to give, I guess, a quick or give your piece on how you feel young players should take their opportunities or how they get more opportunities, and then we can go from there.
I think one of the important things that we have to recognize that Phoenix is not a small academy. It's not one player, two players. There are so many that we have to find opportunities for, and that fit in different areas in terms of where their level is at, where their passports are at. A lot of things influence that. And meeting up with Jordy and his partners, Sean, and it's such a good opportunity to be able to create more in the web of being able to place players from Jamaica and the Caribbean in different areas. Jordy has a lot of contacts in the MLS, and he's been speaking to me a lot about what could come available for players. You know my opinions in the past, but he's slowly but surely changing some of them. So and that's a good thing, I think, because wherever they can go and do well and get onward and upward mobility, then that's where we want to be, because we don't just have 18 or 19 or 20-year-olds. We have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Going different age groups coming all the way one after the other. Just so each year we need to be able to create more opportunities. So if we have a network of leagues and clubs and partners, then we'll be able to do more. And that's one of the reasons why I was speaking to Jordy.
And Coach, before Jordy answers to that, how did you specifically meet Jordy? How did you guys connect?
Sean.
Oh, through Sean? I see.
Sean.
I see. Okay, it'll be great to have Sean on here. So Jordy, as Coach was saying, more opportunities are possibly popping up for people, for young players of all age groups, I guess, here in North America more. Is that something that you've seen gradually change over the past few years?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, the every top footballer wants to be in Europe. That's the gold standard. And those that can, then that's the route you want to be in. That's the route they want to take, and you want to give them that as soon as possible. But sometimes they can't go direct. So the MLS, even some aspects of the USL are providing those links for players, those opportunities. If you're not playing, you're not being seen. If you're a terrific player and you are showcased and you tear it up, you're going to get seen. Nowadays, the clubs are very savvy. The North American clubs are very savvy to realize that they have an opportunity. The opportunity is to sell on young players. And the MLS itself has devised different opportunities for the MLS clubs to bring in foreign international players. There's an under-22 initiative, an under-23 initiative. These are in the spirit of developing and selling on players. It's the business of football that up till now has not been capitalized in North America. And Craig and I had this discussion that we have seen a lot of players instead of developing players and giving them minutes, moving them on, or loaning them, getting them better, getting them in a position to be sold, like a Alphonso Davies. I mean, he's an exception, but there certainly up till now could have been more Alphonso Davies in my opinion, if the MLS teams had that initiative earlier on. So their initiative has been to bring in players towards the end of their career and create an entertainment package, as opposed to develop young players and sell them on for business. So the teams are just starting to get the hang of that, and they're craving the opportunity to do it. And that creates massive opportunities for players, those exceptional players, 1%, as we call it, in different markets, because they can come in and be one of those 5 to 7 international spots. And, the MLS can look at it more as a business, and creates opportunity for the younger players. So that's, to speak to what Craig was saying, is really what the new look is in North American football.
So, Coach, actually, it's a good thing to think about. So I know you've had, so much experience traveling through Europe with your young players, and you've seen the, how hard it can be and how much you have to fight for, to get those players chances. I mean, even the players now going to England. I mean, I know that was a challenge just to get them there, especially with things like COVID. So is this something that maybe you're looking at and saying maybe this is another stepping stone for your players? Instead of having to go through all those challenges straight to Europe, they can maybe hone their craft a bit more in North America? Or how are you envisioning that could possibly work with the Phoenix Academy?
Well, the most important thing is that we recognize that Phoenix is number one. We're ranked number one, the number one privately owned academy by FIFA. We, as a sports management company, we're 19th in the world this year in terms of what we produce. So for us, the key and most important thing is that they sell on the ability to move from, if you do go to MLS, to be able to move in another year into a next step. I've always believed in steps, and in the past in Europe, Belgium had the lowest minimum cap for players. That's why so many players from all over the world ended up in Belgium, and from Belgium to Germany, and then from Germany to directly to England. So the key for me is working with clubs that can, one, give the players the opportunity to play and shine, and two, are open to having them move on and replacing them. Because what we have a factory, but Brandon, what we have out here. So we're sitting on a gold mine, but it's not gold. Because gold, if you leave it in a room for 100 years, it won't decay. But if you leave our players in a room for 3 years, they'll decay. So, and we have to look at all the opportunities to move these players before they rot on the tree. They're ripe. When they're ripe, we need to take them to the market. That's the thing. So if we have too much for one market, we need to make sure we have enough markets that we can put the players in. And I think what's happening, what Jordy has been saying to me is very exciting, actually, for them to, in terms of steps, what the shock that the boys will get when they go to England, even Belgium, worse language, cultural, the total adaptation, what we've had to be doing with our boys to get them ready for that, in terms of if the US is not that much different from Jamaica in terms of the cultures and such. So I think it's a great opportunity. I think so long as we can have the idea of performance and movement, then it will be a great plan. We're thinking of really doing it big and doing it in a real professional and coordinated way.
Yeah, that's interesting. So Jordy, speaking on that, you said more of the clubs here are starting to change their mentalities. So I know traditionally it's sort of been harder for foreign players to, to find their spots in certain teams. Is it a case where, like Coach is saying, the more academies or more teams, even USL or lower than that, League One or ish or so, are they looking at foreign players as almost an investment opportunity, where if they bring them on, it could be potential a big move in the future if they like Coach was saying, possibly strike a gold mine type of thing.
100%, and now more than ever, because the number of clubs that say to me, my owners want me to do what the other team did, and we want to go younger, and so yeah, absolutely, this is a business opportunity. So many teams have taken a hit because of COVID. Many teams will say they took a hit from COVID, and they really didn't, but they'll always say they did. But nonetheless, it is the move is to get younger players and move on and sell them on. So it's tapping into those clubs, that spirit. Some say they want to do it, but they don't have the facilities to do it. And as an agent, so much depends on not just the club you're going to, but the pathway that you see for the player, because like Craig said, if you as an agent don't take initiative and look for loans, look for transfers, there'll be some clubs that say they want to do it and they're genuinely, they genuinely want to make money, but they just don't have the business acumen or the contacts to do it. So the player needs a path. I mean, there'll be some players that'll come to me and say, Jordy, I want to go to Europe right now. Well, some of them will be ready. As Craig indicated, there's cultural changes, there's language barriers, there's a number of things that you have to consider. But then there'll be players that are just not. And you have to find the right path for the player, have a plan, and be able to constantly nudge away at it and be at the club and say, okay, we only want to be here for 1 year. We feel another intermediate market like Scandinavia or Belgium is where we should be looking. And you have to prod. It's not something that, even though they want to make money, they necessarily have the means or gumption and contacts to do it.
And I did have a question, because now that I speak to you more, it's I see a lot of your knowledge in North America. Now I'm not as what's the word? I'm not as knowledgeable in the deeper insides, especially with player movements and things like that for North America. I will tell you, just from a lot of the comments I see in places like Jamaica, because obviously the USL has a lot of Jamaican players, especially great Jamaican players. One thing that's always said on the outside is that players in USL specifically, so not speaking MLS, but second division, they don't. Whenever they go to the USL, they're more so being seen by other American clubs, and the European teams aren't necessarily paying attention to second division US. How would you say is that the case, or is that changing? And how would you say some of the clubs are trying to combat that and trying to get more European clubs to check their players or to see their players, or is that just a case of the agents having to try and push their own clients?
It's a combination of things. I would say less on the part of the clubs and more on the part of the performance of the player and the contacts of the agents. So I have I think 2 or 3 at least USL Championship players that can play abroad, and it's about making the right next step. So I mean, passport obviously is important, but if you're taking an American or Canadian, they can't go to England, as we all know. But what is going to be the next best step for their career economically? Because it's a short, football's a short career. You want your players to do as well as they can, and move up that ladder as well, the economic ladder. And you know, it to a certain degree, there's a lot of risk to it, but it is doable. There was one player last year who we had a team in England championship very interested in, and this was a player with top numbers. So going back to that 1%, if you are that 1%, you will get that opportunity. That opportunity you'll garner attention. One of the things that comes to mind is that, I mean, that's true too, even for USL players to MLS. There aren't a ton of players that move from USL to MLS. Mm-hmm. It's kind of an interesting thing. And that's across the board. It's doable, but I actually think that it's more doable to go overseas from the USL. This one particular player, we had very little interest in the MLS, but yet we had interest in the English Championship. Mm-hmm. So, you know, no rhyme or reason, but again, to answer your question, it's, I think, less the club at that level, more the agent and the player's performance.
Would there be a challenge, though, going from the USL to the English Championship in terms of qualifications for work permit and such?
Yes, there could be. In this case, the player ticked the boxes.
Oh, okay.
And this was before Brexit. I'm not 100% sure it would be the same because things actually got harder, but he did tick the boxes at the time. But
yeah, I think there's a big challenge, and the challenge is that many Jamaican players, they even go to the MLS, then they end up in the second team and don't go anywhere from there. You know, I think that there's two factors must consider. One is that the players in Jamaica, for the most part, are not properly developed. They all have one flaw or the other because of how the system. I don't think you know this, Jordy, so I'm going to share a little with you. The system in Jamaica from the youth up is about winning. So the schools competing at prep school level, if, for example, the player is a left-footed player and he's playing in the finals of the prep school championships and he cuts the ball off of his right foot when he has the shot and puts it on his left foot and scores, everyone in the stadium would be running on the field to cheer for the kid, including the coach. At Phoenix, if you do that, you have about 1,000 push-ups. I don't care at that age if you miss the ball with your weaker foot. You must practice to use it. And the problem is that it goes from that prep school under 12 all the way up through what's called the Manning Cup and the Costa Cup, which is the high schools. And then the player still continues and goes into the Premier League. And he still can only use one foot, or he can only play one position, or he can only play one side of the field, or his vision is not there, or he has some flaw. What we try to do is to make sure that we know we have excellent raw materials here in Jamaica and the Caribbean. But what we try to do is we try to develop the player so that he's a complete player as much as possible. On the pitch, off the pitch. Very confident players not cocky, but who know and believe in themselves. I'm sure you heard the beginning. These are 3 young players going into England for the second. They only went on the tour before for 12 days. Going for the second time. And they're saying, hey, sorry, it's all good, but but you know, we miss our training at Phoenix. It's not necessarily, but we're doing what we need to do. They're not intimidated. They're comfortable. They're scoring. And when we get our players here, and someone comes and they recruit, they see them on a good day, they recruit them and they go into the USL, in the MLS first. And then after a while, they realize, hold on, this guy has some serious flaws. They push him into the USL, and then he never gets back out.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's part of the problem with our development. I have a player that we took that was one of the top young talents in Jamaica, a kid by the name of Tyreek McGee. I mentioned him to you the other day.
Mm-hmm.
We took over his management and training, and when he left Jamaica, he was only left-footed, left-sided. He was an attacking midfielder. Barely ran back when he lost the ball. You know, he literally was raised to believe that he was the best thing since sliced bread. When he went to Europe and he saw, and he went to a club called Eupen. You know Eupen in Belgium? They're leading the Premier League now, I think. And they just watch the tape. The defenders, because it's a lot more tactical.
Mm-hmm.
So they just watch the tape and realize his right side was weak. And they just block the left side and give him the right, and that was the end of his game.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Came back to us, came to Jamaica, trained with us. We worked on his left, we worked on his mentality, we worked on fighting spirit, and the boy went back. Well, young man now, went back, dominating, performing, getting games in the first team now, and in the national team. You know, quite a talent to behold, and we're looking for him to make big steps. You know, coming up, but this is what happens.
Mm-hmm.
But how many other players did not have that support? You know, and at the end of the day, the schools or the clubs would, when they win, they'll beat their chest and say, "Oh, we're the best," but they're not developing the player. And then the player goes, and then another player comes up through the ranks, and it's the same situation. So I kind of have an idea why they're having challenges moving. They get a backward move once they get there, and then don't go forward again. But one of the things that I have to ensure is that the stigma that's attached to what they perceive as a Jamaican player does not reach the Phoenix, because all players are. I don't know if you watch any of our clips, but they shoot foot. They're machines. You know, when you look at Leon is a microcosm of what the rest of our players are like. They're trained the same way by the same person. So what I really want to do is to have partners that can say, okay, we can move this one here, that one there, because believe me, if we have 20 players, you can't take all 20. So there's a guy in Germany, or a guy in a player somebody in Australia.
And that's exactly how we work, because the world is such a smaller place now, and it's all about connections and partnerships, and relying on, you can't cover the whole world. And I mean, I've got the benefit of Steve in England, but North Americans can't go to England, so we have to have our web everywhere else. We have strong partnerships in Scandinavia, strong partnerships in Germany, and that's what you have to bring to your players. That's what you have to offer them.
The age to sign in Germany for Americans, it's younger, right?
It's 18.
18?
Yeah.
Isn't there a clause that will allow Americans to play in the German leagues before 18?
I'm not aware of it, but I can find out for you.
I think there was something with Japan, Australia, and Germany and US because of World War II.
Okay.
I think there were a lot of kids that were Americans, etc., that their parents who are on the army bases are working there or something
Okay.
that's hit on there. They allowed. There's an allowance. I'm not sure, but I think there is. So I want to find out.
Yeah, I'll ask our German partner in the morning. My understanding, and this is the case for sure for Canadians. It follows the FIFA article where for minors where you have to be 18 to sign pro, and you can go there and you can play friendlies and such, but you can't register your, you can't have your ITC switched over on your players pass.
Right.
It's likely the same thing for Americans. There might be some exceptions, like you said, based on because there are a lot of government employees that work there. So
But
that could be the
same FIFA article that says their parents must have moved for non-football related reasons.
correct.
And with this whole idea, I think people don't realize what caused this. It was because a lot of people, agents or so-called agents, were bringing 10, 15 players over from Africa or wherever.
Mhm.
One player might make it, and they just leave the rest of them on the street.
Exploitation, 100%.
So I think FIFA did it in a way to protect children. So they actually gave us loopholes that we could look at if you're willing to do the right thing. So one of the things I said is that the children must get the best education possible in the country, and the parent or child must move for non-football related reasons. So I remember a lot of people actually sent their kids to school because they want them to have an international experience, Change students so they'd have an international experience, and then they would go to school in different parts of Europe. And when those kids went to school, if the FIFA article was to be applied directly, and this kid went and he started school and then said, by the way, I want to play football, he would be deprived of his rights to actually enjoy life and
Yeah.
play. So it's about ensuring that there's no exploitation of children, and that there's the opportunity that you have will be based on your education first.
100%.
I want to backtrack for a second as well, because Craig, about your or the story that you spoke about Tyreek McGee and other players who aren't getting, they're just learning how to win in Jamaica and not necessarily improving as a player. From Jordy, from your perspective, when a player gets transferred to MLS or North America, and they see, okay, they're only one-footed, or maybe they still need some development work on them and things like that. Do they take an effort to try and develop that player for that future transfer, or is it a case where they just send them to their affiliate team and just hope he gets better on his own?
Yeah, well, 100%. Or they just release them after 1 year. The biggest problem with young internationals coming in, period, is what their tactical background is. So you heard Craig. Craig gives his players a tactical background. It's not all about, goals win games, but it's not just about scoring a goal and attacking. The biggest deficiency is when the player or the team they're on loses the ball. It's being able to switch and defend. And that simple task of tactics is what clubs find is missing, and that comes from the coaching. So that again, Craig's focusing on an entire package, not just scoring goals. You have to be able to defend. You have to be able to run, kick with both feet. It's that tactical awareness that is usually the deficiency for young international players, no matter where they come from. That's the single most common thing that will get a young player. And if they're not taught at the right age, then they do go backwards. And as an international player, there was a player that came over to LA Galaxy, very highly rated, and he lasted a year. It's just the tactics. So nobody in the USL wanted him after that. He just went home.
Let's look at what goes into tactics. You have to be able to read properly. That's a huge part. Because the coach is probably writing on a blackboard. And I know of a particular really good talented Jamaican that went to a big club in England, and the coach was writing on the blackboard. He couldn't read, and his ego would not allow him to say, I can't read. So he went out and did the opposite of what the coach was telling him to do every time he wrote. The second thing is, if you're not capable of using both feet, suppose the coach gives you a tactic and says, listen, the opposing wingback we're playing against, he's weak on his left side. So you need to go on his left side every time. But your right foot doesn't work either, so you can't cut in on his left side. Then you can't execute the tactic because you're technically not competent enough. So these are the things, technical will make you more tactical, and so that's the problem that we have, and that's why there's not much advancement. The key though, I'm not gonna sit here and bash. What I want to do though is I want to see how we can make this transition in the MLS to where players are going in and they don't go down, they go up and out. And that's what I want to see. I think Phoenix has the opportunity to do it, and we're looking forward to. Brandon, what we're doing is we're bringing down some people from the MLS. Jordy will be there as well as some other parts. We're going to come down. We're going to play some. We'll come back to the quality of players, and then we're going to move them. Moving up some of them.
It's very interesting.
At least for an to test the waters,
Yeah.
Belgium, man. So I kind of believe in Belgium, but
exactly.
you have to adapt. These things are so important because football just keeps changing. People don't realize that it changes every day. At one time, Africa was the place to go for quality players. That was when Drogba, Courtois, Benteke, and those guys were coming out. People were coming out of Africa, and the Toure brothers,
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden we're starting to see a shift again, and the shift starting to look more CONCACAF players are playing now.
Yeah.
In the bigger leagues in the world than ever before. And so it's an opportunity for us to really, if we can give a complete package, which is what we want to do and what we're focused on at Phoenix.
Yeah. So Jordy, a question: What do the teams and the agents look for? Like, for example, when they come down to Jamaica and look at the players, are they looking for anything specific, or are they just seeing what the country has to offer, or do they come with a specific mindset? There's been combines already in the past in Jamaica, but it hasn't necessarily been for Phoenix, but it's been for Premier League players, and they haven't really developed anything. And they had one player, but similar situation, he got sent out, and then now he's sort of in a different team from what he got drafted towards. But for this type of combine, they're coming here to look at Phoenix Academy. What do those agents and teams look for?
I mean, this is such a subjective business. And I tell my clients, I can call 20 teams, and this one doesn't need a right back. This one doesn't really think this right back fits their system. this one doesn't like this right back, but you only need one. Yes, you only need one person that likes you in this business to get the start or to get the next job. So this type of combine is exposing, will expose coaches to a, we would get to control who's going to play, who they're going to play against, to best showcase for the particular people coming down. So if I call LA Galaxy, I'll find out, okay, what are you looking for? What's your wish list for next year? Well, it's, they'll have a set of players, positions that they're looking for. So they'll look along that end, but they'll also look for that exceptional player. If at the end of the day in this business, if they have attacking central midfielder, they're not coming to Jamaica for an attacking central midfielder, but they see somebody that is 3 times better than what they have, and they figure they can sell that player on. He's, got both feet, he's fit, he's an engine, he's smart, he's tactically aware. Guess what? They're going to go for that player. So it's a variety of things. Sorry, I can't hear you.
Brandon,
yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, this is something that, Coach, you've always said that, especially from players from other countries, especially Jamaica, and Jordy kind of said it there, where when they get to trial or they're playing for a team from America or a different country, they can't just be as good as players there, because it's harder for them to it's more. It takes more to get them accustomed to the country, and also whether it's a government, immigration laws, or whichever. So is it where these players really have to be 2 times or 3 times as good as the players they already have? What's that threshold that players have to impress to really get a good role in those teams?
Yeah, they have to be better. They have to be better, and they're taking up a coveted international spot, so they're going to have to pay more to get their work visa. There's a risk, of course, but it's purely subjective. I mean, if it's that 1% exceptional player, still there's going to be 19 teams that, or maybe a little less, maybe 15 teams that it's not a fit for, but 5 there will be. So it's subjective, but they have to be better. They have to have that extraordinary ability in the in the club's eyes. So coming back to the business model, it also has to make sense from a business sense. Can we develop and sell this player on? Because that is the new, as I said, the new wave.
Yeah, and Coach, that's something you preach too, where even the case where the teammates, they don't want to see a Jamaican player take their friend spot. They want to have their friend perform good. So even though they're teammates, they might not give them the best balls or the best looks. And that's something you tell your players.
It's funny. I think the U.S. is so diverse in culture and stuff that they don't really see it like that. It's not as much. It's more, that is more on the European side of things.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think that the U.S. I mean, in Miami alone, you have so many different nationalities actually living there. So when you look at a team, even a youth team there, you're seeing people from all over the place. So it's really about just being prepared, being ready, having quality technical, tactical players that are going to make the difference. That's the thing, That's the thing that I think we have the edge with. Our players make the difference. When you can go to Aston Villa and score 7 goals, when you can go to Crystal Palace and score 5, or Brentford, Reading, it's important to be able to do that. It's not, and when we go on, a lot of people pull ease off the, like out here, I come off the pedal. Once I'm up 5 goals, I take out my starters and I put the reserves in. But when I'm traveling, if I score 20 or 17 goals, I don't mind. I'll keep scoring because it's important to have that record. It's important to be able to say, yes, we did this, or we achieved that, or we drew with Leverkusen under 17, or we beat Genks Youth Academy, you know? So for us, looking at this opportunity came about because of the reputation of Phoenix. No two ways about it. It's not just, Jordie isn't here on the show just because he wants to come and hang out with us on a Monday evening. He's here because he recognizes the potential and he's heard and seen some clips of what we can do. So he wants to say, hey, let's make some money together. Let's get some opportunities going. Let's build on something. And this is something that I'm proud of. I'm proud that I stuck to my guns in terms of the technical development and that whole, Jordy, off the field, we have my sister, right? And it's not because she's my sister, but she ran the Miss Jamaica franchise. She does a lot of corporate training, customer service, management, moral and social responsibility, all of those things. And for years, she's been a part of our organization. And we include that in our package. We include it that players must understand how to shake hands, look people in the eye when they're speaking to them. These things go a far way in having respect.
Mm-hmm.
Even when you go on a trial. You can imagine you're walking into the Azteca, yeah. You're playing a match and you're looking around and all you're seeing is, wow, the stadium is so huge and all these people are screaming here. You get intimidated. Phoenix players don't do that. They're prepared.
Yeah.
Leon speaks 5 or 6 languages. Probably lost a couple, but he could speak. Immerse them in Germany, Belgium, French, Dutch, Flemish, Germany, Austria. Okay, Austria and German is slightly different from German, and English and Patois. So it's important that they're able to adapt quickly when they get there.
Mm-hmm.
They can cook for themselves, simple things like that. Because if not, then you become dependent and you're on the leg all day,
Yeah.
This, I need this, I need that. My daughter is practicing to drive and she's 15 now. Leon was saying to me the other day, why is Casey practicing to drive now at this age? I said, do you forget that you were driving a yellow Jeep Wrangler when you were 15 plus 2? Said, oh, yeah. But these are the key things now. Wherever he goes, he's not intimidated. He's been driving. When he went to Genk and they gave him a new Mercedes Benz to drive, he was comfortable. He wasn't in shock. He never felt like he arrived. Still humble. He was used to that. And this is something that we have to do with our players, because I've seen so many players go to the USL and from Jamaica and they hype, they hype up themselves on it. They've arrived, and look at this. You've just started your journey. And because the mentality is that you've arrived, your journey ends there, because you're not aspiring towards anything else, I don't know.
Yeah.
People, there's a saying. When people get to a point in terms of their accomplishment, they stop doing what they did to get there, and they end up losing it all. You train hard all your life, you reach to the MLS, and then you only train when the club has training. How's that going to work?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got to have that character, 100%.
That's why Cristiano Ronaldo is such a top talent. You know, I heard about when he went to Manchester United. You know,
Mm.
I don't know if you heard this story, but Cristiano goes to Manchester United and everyone is eating. Other people are getting ice cream or sweets,
Everyone.
but and he, I think, octopus and one or two other things in his plate, and he's eating that. And everybody looked at their own, looked at themselves, and put down their plate and went back at
Yeah, I heard about that. It's,
you know?
yeah.
So it's a part of the whole thing.
Mm.
One thing that I'm happy with is that I've had this opportunity because when I first spoke with Jordy, I was extremely negative in my perception of what would happen to a Jamaican player. Uh, I was wondering if they would get the fair opportunity, if it would be, because of how the whole setup was with the MLS, where they brought in these marquee players, and it was about entertainment with bringing in a Beckham at the time, or I think Zlatan went at one point as well.
Mm.
Or is it the opposite model now, where people are starting to say, "Listen, we can make money on the sell-ons. Let's get some younger players in,
Mm.
continue to give them the opportunity, give them the showcase, and move on."
Mm. Yeah, and I guess to that, Jordy, like you were mentioning, the MLS in North America, they're or I guess sorry, MLS is creating this brand new youth tournament or this academy league. Yes, or before they had their players in the USL. Sorry, their affiliate teams or academy teams in the USL. But now they're doing a dedicated academy league. I mean, when did that? I guess when did that mentality start to change? Where now they're really focusing on the youth instead of, like Coach said, may have been focusing on, I guess, entertainment. And do you see this academy league as a testament to exactly what Coach is saying and what you said earlier, that they're now looking at players and investments to sell on two top clubs around the world.
Yeah, this has been going on for a few years now, but I think everybody is seeing the benefits. Tajon Buchanan is the most recent.
Yeah.
He's is it Bruges that he
Bruges,
yeah.
Club Bruges.
I think it was $4 million US, if I'm not mistaken, and it's just it's phenomenal, and this Tajon is actually an international player because he's Canadian.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you guys are aware, but the MLS has, even though there's 3 Canadian teams in the MLS, the MLS makes Canadian players, designates them as international players. So a Canadian player is only domestic in 3 MLS teams: Toronto, Vancouver, or Montreal. So Tajon became took up an international spot and garnered a sale. So I mean, the movement is there. Some clubs are, as I said about the USL, better at it, more set up for it than others. But yes, the MLS Reserve League is to that end. It's going to take, though, a couple of years for that MLS Reserve League to kind of hit a stride, like anything else that's new. But I think that, personally, I think that it's a great way to do things. It's going to hurt the USL, but it should be it should really make things more seamless for first team transition, hopefully loans. They're still working on that. There's very little known. I've spoken to a lot of clubs. I've spoken to the MLS. A lot of the mechanisms, the structure of this new academy Reserve League isn't completely finalized or out yet, but I think it's a good step. It's just going to take a little bit of time.
Yeah, no, it's exciting to see how it's developed. Now, I want to also ask everybody, if you have comments, please put it in the chat, and I'm watching it. So if anything comes up, I'll make sure to ask. One question did come up. I guess it comes to what you were saying, Coach, about how players are developed through the systems here in Jamaica. Their question was, what is the youngest that you work with? So from that question, I mean, how do you? Well, yeah, how young do you usually? I know the answer, but for the people, how when can you start that development process where you teach them the right methods and the tactics, and hone their talent? Well, when is that sweet spot, I guess, or is there a sweet spot?
Well, there's Skylar McFarlane, who's the top scorer of prep school, won the prep school league, and top striker, and he's 12 now. 12? 12 now. And he has 10 years experience at Phoenix already.
It's crazy.
Oh man.
It's an old man, exactly.
He's been there 10 years. 12
Jeez.
years old. He's been there since he's 2. You bring them in at different ages, but when you do bring them in, you have to allow them that a lot of parents like to bring in their kids, and we want you to bring him at 2 or 3 or 4 and want you to give him all these drills. The kid is not ready for that. His attention span is not there yet. So what we do is we'll bring them in really young, and we'll have them actually. I literally just give them a ball, and I have someone watching them. And if they want to, they try to shoot. If they want to, they try to dribble. But if they want to go and pick coolie plums off the coolie plum tree, they can. What you're doing is you're allowing them to see the football and the training that's going on, develop a love for it, and then they'll gradually want to do what the other boys are doing. That's when you start to work on them. So, yeah, we've been doing this with kids from 2, 3 years old up.
Wow. And Jordy, when you hear that, I mean, do you think, when these clubs, when they look at players like in the Phoenix Academy, or for potential prospects, do they take that into account? Where while this player has been at this academy now for 10 years, 15 years, and he's only 15, do they see that and get a sense that maybe that talent is going to be easier to work with, they're more familiar with tactics, or do you think they're more just concerned on what their talent level is now and what it could be? How much of their past do they take into account, and the coachable traits of these players?
Yeah, massive. I mean, it's everything is based on recommendation and what you did last, and certainly, having developed Craig's son. I mean, Leon Bailey is a huge door opener. But there's others that have followed that are in Europe. So yeah, reputation, as with everything, is everything. So yeah, I mean the players, the more people that we can expose to Phoenix, that at the top of the list, if I call and say, hey, you got to look at this player, so yeah, it's Phoenix. It's all about reputation. 100%.
Coach, did you want to say something?
No, there's a question I wanted to ask, because we have a couple Canadians and also U.S. passport players as well, that they're really, really good already. They can play now. It's like when Leon was 16. If he was eligible to play, he would have played in Genk. But he had to wait 2 years. We actually literally had to come back to Jamaica and wait 2 years to be able to reach 18. So how old will they sign a player or allow a player to play if he has a U.S. passport?
So they can sign a academy contract. They can play at the reserve level with an academy contract. And I believe Toronto has signed a couple of 16-year-olds to MLS contracts, if I'm not mistaken. But again, I can confirm that. The boy that comes to mind is Marshall Ruddy. So if anybody has their fingers on Google right now, they could find out when he signed. But I'm pretty sure it's if the FIFA article is looked after, I think they've signed earlier.
Yeah, you're right. It's 6. Actually, I think 2019. So I think it was 15. 15.
Okay.
15. They were playing for Toronto FC too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Leon's youngest brother Dante, he has a Canadian passport, born in Canada.
Okay.
So I'm thinking of even fast tracking.
Yeah.
Already 6'2", a machine. Plays central defender, plays left back. Can also play in the 6. 2-footed. He went Sheffield. We played against Sheffield. They loved him. Wanted him to come in, but of course he can't because he's just 15. So
Canada, there's 3 potential clubs, 3 MLS reserves, straight off the bat.
Yeah.
And then as a step, if he's playing, and taking the steps, I'm thinking aloud. They're able to play the steps.
Yeah.
There, then when they're 18, then they can make the jump back, because they're currently in Germany playing right now.
Okay.
So these are some of the things, the synergies, Brandon, that I believe that we can do. Also, there are a lot of players that have been asking to come to Phoenix from around the Caribbean.
Yeah, a lot. We're getting a lot. Now that we've opened the email, we get a lot of requests for it.
Wow.
There is no football playing, or the level of coaching is just not there right now. And the opportunity. So, we should open the doors and look at the opportunities for them.
Yeah, it's been over an hour now. So I want to I don't want to keep, I guess, Jordy too long. I guess I wanted to ask him same point, Craig. I know it's still very early on, but what are things that you're looking at like those synergies, to work with Coach Butler and the Phoenix Academy? And that's for you, Jordy. Yeah, sorry.
Oh, sorry. First of all, I'm good on time. So
okay.
Yeah, and can you repeat the question? Sorry.
Yeah. So from your side, what are some of the synergies you're looking for to have with Coach Butler and Phoenix Academy as a partnership, and what do you see, or what would you look for out of a partnership like that?
Placing players. I think that football is about placing players, is about finding the path that's right for that player. There's going to be different tiers of players. There's going to be your MLS ready or your Bundesliga 2 or Bundesliga 3 ready players. But there's also going to be players that will be better suited to start a step back. And maybe not be pushed to too high a level too soon. But yeah, it's partnerships. It's success. I mean, I get a thrill seeing a contract being earned. I mean, that's that's the fun of the work. And sure, you get paid, but that's the fun. Yeah. I have 5 children of my own, and I can tell you, I probably, just because of the nature of the business, spend 95% of my time speaking to the extended family, the other kids. So you get very invested in the players that you work with. So their victories are your victories. So it's getting that rush. Certainly the business end of it is fun and rewarding, but I think I've always thought Jamaica was a fantastic market. But I think I know Craig's academy brings a different, very high-end product, and I think clubs will be very excited. They already are excited. There's interest in North America. There's been interest abroad for a long time, so it's exciting.
Sounds good. Is Dante in the background there anywhere?
He was, but he didn't have a camera on, but he may have left. We can try and get him back on. Was he waiting to come back on?
Come on for a little bit. Dante is in Germany now. That is my youngest boy. He's, as I said, he's 15. So he's in Germany, and we're going to school at St. George's College in Cologne. Well, he's doing well in his football. He played on the team that we took to England. He was a starting left back and very good. His genes are super. I'm a short guy, right? But his mother's brother is like 6'4". So he will continue to grow, and he has a perfect for building. Hey, Brandon.
Yeah, no, yeah, I've seen him, and he's a great kid, right? He does everything and listens, and he's just a specimen, like you said. It's always great watching him play. And we have Jordy and everybody watching. We do have an official Phoenix Academy YouTube channel where we upload training sessions from throughout the week, including matches on the weekends. So make sure you check that out and subscribe. I'll put the link on the in the chat. And we just released our profile from Dujon Whisper Richards as well, from all his latest clips from going back from when he was playing in Holland when he was like maybe 12 or 13, all the way up till now. Right. So we have all this coming up, and we will have one of Jade coming soon. And we'll get more of these out, especially Dante and a few of the other players. And
that's another big talent that we have coming out, and Dylan John too.
Oh yeah,
good attacking midfielders, but young, very young.
So yeah, the next. Would you say, Craig? I mean, I don't want to degrade any of the elite players, but do you see the next crop coming up as maybe being some of the best that the academy's had? The 11 to 10-year-olds that you see, like Skylar and
by far. I mean, it's simple. If you keep investing in research and development in any company, in any product, the product is going to get better each time you do it. Yeah. Now, this crop that we have now, Whipser and they're like the best in their positions, in my opinion, anywhere. But the crop that's coming after, the under 13s, Sean, Skylar, off key. We have a kid, they call him off key, right?
Yeah.
The first day he came to training, he just looked slightly off key because he walked slightly off key, he looked like a mad scientist. And he plays exactly like Aaron Robin. He has, the way he turns is just unbelievable. It's a joy to watch him play, We have some very good strikers, Demo and Theo. Theo at 14 was when he went to England the other day, Tottenham loved him. They came and they were scouting him and they loved him, and he's 14 years old. So they're gonna be top. The Jamani and Dylan and Dante. We keep forgetting that Dante is just 15.
Yeah.
And Whipser
is just 15. Yeah. Yeah. It's
so you're going to England and you're playing Brentford and you're playing Reading and you're playing their under 19s and they're under 23s and they're 15 and they're matching physically.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, if you look at I'm gonna put the link in the chat. But if you look at the player profile of Whisper in the beginning, you're talking, you're standing next to him, and he's like a giant compared.
But again, genetics is a hell of a thing, and thank God for history and how it was very kind to Jamaica and Jamaican people. That's why we have the saying, out of many, one people. And what they should say is, out of many, we look like we got all the best good things out of each person, each race, each nationality that came here. I love this country, and I love what it has produced. I love the people, and we're looking forward to having you. For you to really see what this. I think you've been to Jamaica before several times with your friends, as you said, at Barnex. What we have in terms of raw materials and players, that character, that affable character, that what Leon Bailey, anywhere Leon goes, all the fans love him because it's just the Jamaican way of doing things that people love, and are drawn to. And I think that once we just ensure that there's discipline and focus at the same time, we can't lose. You have a good package. It's a good selling package.
Yeah.
Back me up on this, Jordy, if I'm wrong, but when a club buys a player or signs a player, they're not just signing the player for his football ability, They're signing him for how many jerseys he will sell, how many people will come to the stadium to watch him, how many parents would want to have his name on the back of their child's jersey, how much merchandising they'll sell. So you have to have the personality to go along with the football. You can't just be a drone, and you can't at the same time be a monster and expect people to want to sign you. So we try to work hard with our boys on that, and just want to say, keep going to Matthew Wooling, one of our graduates who came from Trinidad, spent time here, and he's now playing in Miami. Miami, what's the team of Miami?
Miami FC.
Miami FC, yeah.
That Miami FC. Big up to our Suriname player, Leofilo Hasselbank. He's now in Israel playing, and he won the Golden Boot for the Gold Cup. So when Suriname was playing against Jamaica, you had Leon Bailey, Phoenix, and you had Leofilo of Phoenix playing against each other for their countries. So it was a great pleasure. That's another opportunity we should look at too for him. He's out in Israel. He's doing well. Doing well. Yeah, and the other players as well. Kemar Reed.
Now Craig. I do see Dante in waiting. So do we want to get Dante in?
Him say hi to his fellow Canadian.
Sure. Hey Dante, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
How's it going?
doing?
Good. So Craig, did you want to I guess introduce Dante?
Alles good,
Hello?
Dip?
Yeah, and do?
Yeah, all is good. Please meet Jordy. Jordy, please meet Dante.
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good, thanks. I'm good.
So Dante, right now you are in Germany, correct?
Yes, I am. It's 1:30 in the morning.
1:30. Oh, geez. We'll try to make it quick. Let us. I know you said you had to do this a lot of times in the past, but just say who you are as a player, just to give Jordy the sense of how you play, and also some of your physical attributes, like how tall you are and what foot you use.
All right. Well, my name is Dante Peralta. I'm 15 years old, and my positions that I play are centre back, left back, and right back. I'm about 5'10", 5'11", around there.
and I believe I'm very good for my age. And whenever I play centre back, I'm a good leader from the back, organizing the team so then we have shape when we're playing, and we're also able to press at the same time. And whenever I play wing back, I also show options for an overlapping run.
Wow. And coach, what do you see the most out of Dante as a player?
The late company.
Yeah.
That's the type of player he is, you know. That type of player, the solid, reliable, powerful in the air, leader, strong. And he's being conservative when he says he's 5'11". Because Dip, you're 5'11". I'm 5'9.5", and you're towering 5'8.5". You're towering over me. So you're not 5'11" anymore, bro. That was like a year or two. But I think he has a great potential, and just good that you should meet there. I'm actually in the company of 3 Canadians right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey.
You're honoring Canadian, I think.
Outnumbered. Yeah, so Dip, we just wanted to say hi, and I'm sure you've been watching the show, so you've gotten some idea of what we're doing and what we're thinking of doing with some of the players and the opportunities that are coming up. But we will continue to be dynamic, and we'll continue to look for where the best opportunities are for everybody. Keep learning your German and keep making sure you take care of every business on that side of the thing, representing Phoenix well. Got really good feedback from the coach today. So, moving forward. All right.
All right. Thanks, B, for having me.
Nice meeting you.
All right. Bye. Best of luck to you guys.
All right. Sleep well.
Thanks. You too. What happened?
When are you on break?
I'm on
break for
school break right now.
No, when did I break for Christmas?
For Christmas, I think December 17th. I'm not sure. I have to double check.
Have to break earlier. Okay. All right. Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Good night.
Good night.
Night.
Good night, Dante. All right. Well, yeah, it's been a long show. I think we can get close to it. I guess unfortunately, no Sancho. Sancho couldn't make it today. Craig.
Guess not.
Okay, we'll try our best to get him on board. But is there any final thoughts at all to? We'll start with you, Craig. Anything about the topic?
It's just a pleasure and an honor to be regarded in this light that our academy has been able to garner people like Jordy and his team that would like to work with us. We obviously, it's our intent to never let them down and to continue to build our network. And it's just a pleasure meeting you. You're a gentleman and a doctor.
Thank you.
So hopefully when you're here, you won't have to save me. But
God forbid.
God forbid, and really looking forward to great things for between us and for Jamaica.
Likewise. Pleasure is mine. I'm really looking forward to coming down and meeting you and seeing the boys, and yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting.
Jordy, it's a pleasure meeting you as well, and I'm excited to hopefully meet you as well, either in Jamaica or Canada, depending where we cross paths. But thank you so much for joining.
Oh, Jordy.
Yes.
Here. I don't remember anything at all. It's impossible to. If you ask me a question, I'm going to forget. Brandon is the man. Okay. He's actually a big part of Phoenix in terms of all the administration and communications and knowledge. So some things, if you ask me for a profile right now, can't give you. He said to me, tell me about Whisper. The first thing I'm going to do is go to Brandon. So you might as well just... I'll give you his contacts, Brandon, so we can actually get together. But with me, I don't know. You're a doctor, so tell me. When I was younger, right, I had photographic memory. I couldn't forget anything at all. I sat my A levels in history. and they made me resit it twice because I literally wrote the book back out. They thought that but as I've gotten older, I can't remember where I put my keys. I can't remember anything. I can't remember what I wore to yesterday, what clothes I had on.
Yeah.
But I can remember everything from 20 years ago or 30 years ago. What's happening to me? Alzheimer's?
No, completely normal. Our memory is just not the same. You could learn. If you hear a song that you haven't heard for 20 years, you could recite the lyrics, no problem. But if you hear a favorite song that you learned a year ago, it's not the same. It's just your capacity to embed the memories are just greater when you're younger.
And another thing, though, I know whenever I am with Greg, I mean, I don't know how this is another. I don't know if it affects it, but there's at least 30 different things that come at you at every given minute.
Yes.
I feel like every 5 minutes or something. Hey, where's this? Where's that? Are we doing this? Or what do you know? Can we do this? There's so many things that fly at you. It's like to me, it's almost how do you keep track of all that? And there's I feel like it's overwhelming. And I feel like you've probably been doing that how long now, Craig? I mean, your days are just filled every day, 24/7.
Yeah, but we have a really strong team. I mean, Nick, Shelley, Mr. Richards, Shoeshine, everybody.
Yeah.
They all play their parts, and it's are perfect for what we need to do.
Yeah, trying to build that structure to help you, so you don't have to remember. You can just look at something and say, that's all coming.
And negotiate, coach, and that's all I like to do. Coach,
exactly.
Negotiate.
Exactly.
Nothing.
Yeah. Well, Jordy, we really appreciate the time. Coach, I'll ask you to stay on just a little bit. We'll answer a few last questions, and then we'll sign off. But Jordy, thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate it.
Pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Jordy.
Have a good night.
All right. Good night, guys.
Good night.
Take care.
Great. So that was Jordie Isen. He was, pull it up again, he's actually a retired doctor who now is working as a football agent for 15 years. It's crazy. So he has a great network of players and management and teams in all around North America. And he works with a London-based agent who I actually haven't heard of as well. Hopefully we can get him one day, Steve Kuttner.
Lampard.
Yeah, Lampard's agent, Paul Ince, Ranieri, and a few others. So it's great to have him on, and excited to see. It's the first time I've heard of him too. So it's great to see. So and great job, Coach. I mean, that's another great contact. I'm sure that's going to do well for us at Phoenix. All right, so. A lot of people are asking for your thoughts on the Honduras match. Of course, that we haven't spoken about how the Jamaica team played last window as much, but I guess so. What were your initial thoughts on the Honduras match? I think also, who did they play before that? Oh, geez, was it the U.S.? Let me double check. Well, I guess overall, what were your thoughts on that match?
I think that there were some signs of quality. But again, you have to understand Honduras was also at the bottom of the table. So
yeah, and they were planning to fire their coach anyway. Apparently, they didn't get a point.
So it's minnow versus minnow, and you see. I just, honestly, it's hard for me. I cannot accept mediocrity. Okay, beat Honduras, so we're.
Yeah. Well, what was if you?
Honduras. No,
Yeah.
We have the quality players that should be walking easily into a World Cup.
Yeah.
Brandon, please don't get me started.
No, I know. Okay, we'll save that because.
Canada, Costa Rica.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Yeah, I was going to say because the match before that was against Canada, and that match was. Well, I mean, even both sides, but still, that match was a very, very poor poor performance, and it was hard to watch, but at least they got a point out of it, which is positive. I think now we look at the next window. Yeah, go ahead.
The next window, what I think we need to do is just. I personally am gonna just leave it alone. I don't want to be involved. I'll go and support. I'll watch the games. Leave it alone.
Yeah.
Pray that they get through. Pray that they qualify. But just leave it alone.
Yeah.
I have become, the whole wagonist mentality. You win a game against Honduras, who is at the bottom. Do they have a point?
I'm not sure. They may have had 1 point, but nothing more than that.
Yeah, and you beat Honduras, and you're talking about a historic.
They have 3 points. Sorry,
Yeah,
three draws.
You're talking about the historic win in Honduras Stadium, and you're making it up to be so much more than it is. You beat the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah.
And you are at the bottom of the barrel, and you beat the bottom of the barrel. It doesn't mean that you've done well.
Yeah.
There's a whole lot of room for improvement, and we should not be at the bottom of the barrel. That's my point.
Yeah.
You're screaming praises now for what? I'll scream praises to you when you have a system in place.
Yeah.
Yeah, effort. To be honest with you, I see an effort. The effort. That's why you try.
Yeah.
Keep trying. Keep trying to do the right thing. I pray that they qualify. Leon is his injury is over, so he should probably be able to make the next round, and let's try and get this thing done properly.
Yeah.
But forget about this qualifying for this World Cup. We need to be putting something in place so we qualify consistently for all the World Cups. A proper developmental plan, a proper national academy with training going on from the U23s all the way down twice a week.
Yeah.
People working instead of just having a title, Oh, I'm the under 15 coach. You're the under 15 coach for what? You're under 15 coach for 2 days?
Yeah.
For 2 weeks when you go on the tournament? What happens after that? Are you recruiting? Are you developing? Are you training? Are you coaching? Are you putting a system in place? Are you working with the under 17 coach? And is he doing his job too? No one is working. No one. And don't blame COVID because you weren't doing it before either. That's why everybody in the world is destroying us with all of our great raw material. That's what's happening. And that's why our players are going to the MLS, are going from the MLS down to the USL and can't move from there. Because we're developing the players properly.
Yeah.
In the opportunities, the quality is not in the training. There is no training. It's about time that you guys just do it. I can no longer just keep singing like John the Baptist howling in the wind.
Yeah.
I'll continue to focus on Phoenix. I'll continue to focus on opportunities for Jamaicans from the management side, and I will continue to do what I believe is right. I will speak out, but I really don't want to have anything to do with any coaching with the national.
Okay.
So let's just focus on the positives. The beat Honduras, I'm happy. How many points do you have now?
5 points.
We have 5 points.
3 points off of the playoff spot.
Yeah, so we just need to just keep fighting and try and get in there and
Yeah.
put all hands on deck. I mean, national team players, Antonio, all of you guys, listen, you're already capped.
Yeah.
Already. Just let's show up and work together and get this thing done. You all have the quality you have in terms of the players. Mikel, giant leader in the Premier League up to recently. Low, all of them quality players. we should be easily waltzing through this qualifying tournament, not be at the. So.
And it's almost like anybody who's interested, they can go to probably every one of our other shows, and your tune doesn't change. So it's just a matter of let's just support. And
I'm not the one on this. I'm not gonna start screaming, "Yeah, great job" when they beat the bottom of the barrel. Come on.
Yeah. All right, a few more questions. Have you ever coached Darren Maddox, or have you ever done anything with Darren Maddox? Someone was asking.
Yes, Darren came and trained with us for a week. He wasn't scoring in the MLS. Came and trained with us for a week and went back and was scoring a lot of goals. I haven't seen him since though. How's he doing?
He's playing in USL, and he hasn't been called up for the national team. So we'll say before that he was playing in. I probably got this wrong, but I know it's one of these countries. He was playing like Sudan or some sort of Central African country. I was surprised, but he made the move to the USL. I'm not sure if it was Sudan. Someone will probably correct me, but yeah. Also, a lot of questions about how they can get tryouts. So again, this is the email you can message if you are looking for a trial. Now we had a trial last month. I know we're starting to work with you, Coach, on the next trial date. But this trial date, I mean, it's at least 100 applicants we have. So either it's going to have to be 2 or 3 different trial dates, with different players. But we'll work that out. And
the trial dates and not mix them with the elites. So
exactly, yeah.
They train at the trial at a different time so we can focus and actually watch them.
Exactly, yeah. I think that's one thing we took out of last trial. They need to make sure that they get some, they get their own time. But we'll make sure. Send us an email. It goes into our database. As soon as we have something set up, you'll hear from it. Just keep it on your email, and we'll also put something on social media. Just let you know when it's coming.
Which is coming up, which is with the MLS teams, is going to be in about 3 weeks maximum. So we need to prepare for that now.
Okay, and do you know when? So you said in 3 weeks is probably MLS.
So we probably have a couple people from Trinidad. I think Sancho's cousin is sending down a couple for us, so we'll look at it as well. So we'll see. Okay.
All right. Well, any final words for today, Coach? I think it was a great show. Actually, I think Jordy was a great guest.
Yeah, very productive. And it was good to hear from the boys and making sure that I'm glad they're okay and adapting and doing what they need to do. Whipser has a game, I think tomorrow, with the U19 elites. Jade has been scoring. As usual, he scores. So he's scored 5 goals in 2 games. Puddy scored 1 goal. Dante scored, I think, 2 or 3 goals. No, scored 1 goal with about 3 assists. Dante was out injured with his hamstring. Leon is back in training 100%. Kemar missed the penalty yesterday. His team lost, but of course, having heard the news of his mom's death, I wouldn't even be able to kick. So it's a testament to him and his commitment to his mom. Saw his post today on Instagram. Said, "My queen, for you I will continue." So it's very inspirational. He's really a good kid and very proud to actually be a man to have spent a lot of time raising.
Yeah, condolences to him, and hopefully he will. I know he'll take that energy and make something positive. Hopefully not only in football but in his life. It's very hard to lose somebody. So wish him well. Wish the whole Phoenix team well, especially everyone abroad, and excited for the next phase of Phoenix. I know we're kind of in the midst of the next phase. Everything's been changing. Every time I speak to you, something new's happening. So it's exciting. Exactly. All right, guys. See you guys next episode. Probably later this week. We'll see. We have to make sure. Obviously, I'm still remote. We're working on when I'm coming back, which is actually I want to talk to you.
Come back now.
I know, exactly. All right. Well, thanks, guys, again, and we'll see you next time. All right. Bye, everybody.
Ciao.